You can download the book for free from our website.
All right, let's dive into the Atkins diet, or I guess the Atkins nutritional approach. We're going deep into Dr. Atkins' new diet revolution.
Okay.
To figure out, I guess, is this another fad diet, right? Or is this a legitimate path to weight loss and better health?
Well, I think one of the really interesting things about the Atkins diet is that it really kind of turns conventional dieting wisdom on its head. We've always been told that fat is the enemy when it comes to weight loss.
Right.
But Atkins really says, hold on a second. What about all the sugar and refined carbs you're eating?
Yeah, the book actually goes into the history of how our diets have changed, especially in like the last century or so. The explosion of sugar and refined carbs.
Right.
It really makes you think. Did our ancestors have it right all along?
Yeah, for sure.
With their focus on natural, unrefined foods.
Well, think about it. Humans really thrived for centuries on these diets that were rich in meat, fish, vegetables, and natural fats.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really until refined sugar and white flour became like the staples of most modern diets that we started to see this huge spike in obesity and, all these related health issues.
So, you mentioned that Atkins kind of challenges the conventional wisdom here.
Yeah.
So how so?
Well, one example is the French paradox.
Right.
This is something that puzzled scientists for years.
Yeah.
The French, despite having a diet that was traditionally high in fat, they had much lower rates of heart disease than Americans.
Yeah, I've heard of that, but I've never really understood what caused it.
Well, Atkins, he suggests that a key difference was sugar consumption. The French, while they were enjoying their buttery croissants and their creamy cheeses and all that, they actually consumed far less sugar than Americans did.
Right.
And, emerging research is actually showing that this excess sugar can really disrupt the way our bodies process fats.
Okay.
Which can then lead to inflammation and an increased risk of heart disease.
Wow. So it's not just about how much fat you eat, but also what you're eating it with.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so how does the Atkins diet actually try to tackle this? Does it completely cut out all carbs?
Well, not exactly. It's really more about controlling your carb intake to kind of shift your body into this fat burning mode.
Okay.
So the idea is, when you limit carbs, especially refined carbs, your body's going to start burning stored fat for energy.
Okay.
Which is a process called lipolysis.
So it's like flipping a switch from burning carbs to burning fat.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it.
Okay.
And Atkins actually provides a pretty structured kind of roadmap to make that happen.
So you're talking about the 4 phases of the diet.
Exactly, yeah. So think of them like stepping stones,
Okay.
You start with this induction phase, and this is where you're going to drastically reduce your carb intake to only 20 grams per day.
Okay.
And these are going to come mostly from low-carb vegetables. And this is really what kind of jumpstarts that fat-burning process.
Yep.
Then as you move through the phases, you're gradually going to add back carbs in this ongoing weight loss phase.
Okay.
And really kind of find the right balance for your body.
So it's personalized. You're not just following like a one-size-fits-all.
Exactly. It's about listening to your body and finding, what your individual carb tolerance level is.
Okay.
Then you move to the pre-maintenance phase. You're continuing to increase carbs gradually.
Okay.
And then finally you reach this lifetime maintenance phase where, you've really found that sweet spot, the amount of carbs you can eat every day without gaining or losing weight.
That makes a lot more sense than being told to just avoid carbs forever. But 20 grams of carbs in the induction phase.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty extreme.
It is.
How do you even manage that? What can you actually eat?
Well, it does require a pretty big shift in your eating habits, but it's not as restrictive as you might think,
Okay.
You can still enjoy plenty of protein-rich foods like fish, meat, poultry, eggs, cheese, along with healthy fats like olive oil, avocado, nuts.
Steak and avocado are back on the menu. All right, I'm in.
Exactly. And one of the things that people often report is that once they kind of get over that initial hump, their cravings for sugary processed foods actually start to diminish.
Okay, so you're not as hungry. You don't have those cravings.
When your blood sugar levels stabilize, those cravings really do tend to subside.
Okay.
Which can be, incredibly empowering.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But some people, they argue that the weight loss on Atkins is mostly water weight. It's not actually fat loss.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to that?
Well, you might experience some initial water weight loss, but, research actually shows that on a controlled carbohydrate diet, like Atkins, you're really burning stored fat for energy, and the loss of inches, and the changes in body composition, that a lot of people experience, that really does reflect fat loss, not just fluctuations in water weight.
So it's not just about the number on the scale, it's about actual changes in your body.
Precisely, yeah. It's about improving your body composition, reducing fat, and ultimately just, feeling healthier, more energized.
Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into the science behind this.
Sure.
How exactly does restricting carbs lead to fat burning?
Well, it all really comes down to this hormone called insulin.
Okay.
Think of insulin as kind of like a storage hormone.
Oh.
So when you eat carbs, especially those refined carbs like sugar and white flour, your body is going to break them down into glucose, which then enters your bloodstream.
Okay.
And this spike in blood sugar then triggers this surge of insulin, which then kind of shuttles all that glucose into your cells for energy. But here's the catch. When you consume more carbs than your body actually needs for immediate energy, it's also going to promote the storage of that excess glucose as fat.
Oh, okay. So eating too many carbs basically keeps your body in fat storage mode.
Exactly. And over time, this can lead to weight gain, and it can actually contribute to various health issues like insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes.
Oh, okay.
So the Atkins diet really aims to break this cycle by limiting carbs and keeping those insulin levels nice and low, which then allows your body to tap into its fat stores for energy.
Okay. So we've got the basics down. We're controlling carbs, shifting to fat burning mode.
Yeah.
But I mean, Atkins isn't just about cutting carbs, right?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
There's more to it than that.
It's really about making smart choices about the types of carbs that you're consuming and focusing on nutrient-rich whole foods.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier that induction phase is pretty strict. You're only allowed 20 grams of carbs a day.
Yeah.
What's the thinking behind that? Why such a low number?
Well, it's all about breaking free from this carbohydrate dependency.
Okay.
Think of it as a reset button for your metabolism.
Okay.
By drastically reducing those carbs, you're really forcing your body to switch gears and start burning fat for fuel more efficiently.
So it's kind of like giving your body a wake-up call.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, let's get practical here. What does a 20-gram carb day actually look like? Can you give us some examples?
Sure, yeah. So for breakfast, you might have eggs cooked in butter with a side of spinach or mushrooms. For lunch, maybe a grilled chicken salad with plenty of non-starchy veggies and a drizzle of olive oil.
Yeah.
And for dinner, maybe salmon with roasted broccoli and a side of cauliflower rice.
See, now I'm not a huge fan of cauliflower, but I've heard that cauliflower rice is a pretty good substitute for regular rice.
It is, and there are tons of creative recipes out there. I mean, you can even make pizza crust out of cauliflower.
Okay.
But the key is to really pay attention to portion sizes and read food labels carefully.
Right.
Even some healthy foods can be, surprisingly high in carbs.
Okay, so label reading is essential.
Yeah.
But how do you track all those carbs? Do you have to walk around with a calculator all the time?
Well, Atkins does emphasize carbohydrate counting.
Yeah.
Which, it can be a bit daunting at first, but there are a lot of helpful resources available, like, the Atkins website and mobile apps that make it a lot easier. You also start to get a feel for the carb content of common foods over time.
Sure.
So it does become a little bit easier.
Okay, but what about those times when you're eating out or you're traveling? I mean, it seems like it would be pretty difficult to stay on track.
Well, yeah, I mean, it definitely takes some planning, but it's not impossible.
Okay.
When you're eating out, you want to choose restaurants that offer Atkins-friendly options, like steakhouses or seafood restaurants. You can also ask for modifications to dishes, like requesting extra veggies instead of a starchy side.
Right.
And when you're traveling, you want to pack your own snacks and meals.
Yeah.
To avoid temptation.
So it's really all about being prepared.
Yeah.
And making conscious choices even when you're not in your own kitchen.
Exactly. It's about developing that mindset where you're really in control of your food choices rather than letting food control you.
Okay, so let's say you've made it through that induction phase, you're seeing some good results. What happens next?
So you gradually increase your carb intake in this ongoing weight loss phase, or OWL as it's often called.
OWL.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're slowly adding back certain carbs to find your sweet spot.
Precisely. So you typically increase your carbs by 5 grams per week.
Okay.
And really pay close attention to how your body is responding.
Okay.
You might notice that some carbs trigger cravings or cause weight gain, while others don't really have a negative impact.
So it's a little bit of a detective game figuring out what works for you.
Exactly. It's about finding that right balance where you continue to lose weight steadily but comfortably.
Okay. And once you're close to your goal weight, then you move on to pre-maintenance, right?
That's right. So this phase is all about fine-tuning your carb intake and really preparing for long-term weight maintenance.
Okay.
So you continue increasing carbs very gradually by about 10 grams per week until you find what's called your critical carbohydrate level for maintenance, or CCLM.
CCLM, that sounds pretty technical. Can you break that down for us?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's simply the amount of carbs that you can consume every day without gaining or losing weight.
Okay.
So it's really your personal sweet spot for long-term weight management.
So it's not about deprivation.
Right.
It's about finding a sustainable way of eating that works for you long term.
Exactly.
Okay. And once you've found your CCLM, then you've reached that final phase, lifetime maintenance.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So lifetime maintenance is really about living a healthy, balanced life while maintaining your weight within a comfortable range.
Precisely.
Okay. But even with the best plan in place, I mean, there are always going to be challenges. Holidays, social events, all those tempting treats that seem to pop up everywhere.
Yeah.
How do you handle those situations without, completely derailing your progress?
Well, Atkins emphasizes the importance of having a plan and being prepared. If you're going to a party or an event, have a healthy meal or a snack beforehand to help curb your appetite.
Okay.
Choose lower carb options whenever possible. Don't be afraid to say no to foods that don't fit into your plan.
Right.
And remember, it's okay to indulge occasionally as long as you get back on track the next day.
So it's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about finding a balance that works for you.
Yeah.
And allows you to enjoy life without feeling restricted.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's shift gears a bit and talk about some of the other potential benefits of the Atkins diet, beyond weight loss. Atkins claims that this approach can be beneficial for a range of health conditions, including diabetes, heart disease, yeast overgrowth.
Yeah.
So let's start with diabetes. How does the Atkins diet potentially help with blood sugar control?
Well, one of the core principles of the Atkins diet is controlling those blood sugar levels by limiting carbohydrates, especially those refined carbs, which we know cause those rapid spikes in blood sugar.
Right.
So by reducing your carb intake, you can actually help stabilize those blood sugar levels and reduce the need for insulin, which is especially beneficial for individuals with type 2 diabetes.
Okay. So it's not just about losing weight.
Right.
It's about addressing those underlying metabolic issues
that
contribute to diabetes.
Exactly.
Okay. Now let's talk about heart disease. Doesn't a diet high in fat increase your risk of heart problems?
Well, that's actually a a common misconception.
Right.
You know, Atkins really challenged that conventional wisdom that saturated fat is the main culprit in heart disease.
Okay.
He argued that it's really the combination of excess carbs and unhealthy fats.
Okay.
Like trans fats that are found in processed foods that contribute to heart problems.
So it's not just about reducing fat. It's about choosing the right types of fat.
Exactly. So Atkins actually encourages the consumption of healthy fats like those found in olive oil, avocados, nuts, and fatty fish, which can actually improve cholesterol levels and reduce the risk of heart disease.
That's interesting. So it's not a low fat diet. It's a smart fat diet.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's about focusing on quality over quantity when it comes to fat.
Okay. Let's move on to yeast overgrowth.
Sure.
How does diet play a role in this condition?
So Atkins believed that a diet high in refined carbohydrates can actually create an environment in the body that promotes the overgrowth of yeast.
Okay.
Particularly Candida albicans, which is a type of fungus that naturally occurs in the gut.
Okay, so too much sugar is basically feeding the yeast.
Exactly. And when yeast overgrows, it can actually lead to a range of symptoms, including, fatigue, digestive issues, skin problems, even mood swings.
So what's the solution? How do you address yeast overgrowth?
Well, Atkins recommended an anti-yeast diet that eliminates sugar and refined carbohydrates, while focusing on antifungal foods like garlic, coconut oil, and certain herbs.
So it's a two-pronged approach. You're starving the yeast,
and
you're boosting your body's natural defenses.
Precisely. And it often involves incorporating specific supplements like probiotics to help restore that healthy balance of gut bacteria.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore the long-term implications of the Atkins diet and discuss its sustainability as a way of life.
All right, so we're back. And we're ready to tackle the long game with the Atkins nutritional approach. We've talked about the science, the physics, the potential benefits.
Yeah.
But what about making this a sustainable way of life?
Well, that's really where the magic happens, I think. Atkins, he recognized that this isn't just a quick fix. It's really about creating lasting change. And he emphasizes, that lifetime maintenance is not about being perfect.
It's about having a flexible and adaptable approach to eating that fits your individual needs and preferences.
So you're not white-knuckling it forever, basically.
No, not at all. He really encourages you to continue experimenting with different foods and recipes, always paying attention to how your body responds. You spent all this time in those earlier phases kind of figuring out your own personal carb tolerance.
Right.
So you have a pretty good roadmap, to guide you.
And speaking of roadmaps, he provides a tool called the Power of 5, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's a really handy list of portion sizes for various foods that contain roughly 5 grams of net carbohydrates.
Okay.
So that way, you can still enjoy a wide range of foods without having to stress over every single carb.
That sounds way less overwhelming than constantly calculating everything. But what about those times when you do overindulge, say, during a holiday or a special occasion? Does that mean you've blown it completely?
No, not at all. Atkins acknowledges that life happens and occasional slip-ups are normal,
Yeah.
The key is to not beat yourself up about it and just, simply get back on track as quickly as possible.
Okay.
And he even provides, specific strategies for managing those situations. Like having a protein-rich snack beforehand to help kind of curb those craving.
Right.
And choosing, lower carb options whenever possible.
Okay. So it's about being mindful and making conscious choices, but also being kind to yourself.
Exactly. It's about progress, not perfection, and remember, you're not alone in this journey. The Atkins community is a fantastic resource for support and inspiration.
Yeah, that's right. The Atkins website offers tons of recipes, forums, success stories, even the opportunity to connect with Atkins experts.
Right.
Yeah. It's a great reminder that you don't have to go it alone.
And that really ties into, I think, a bigger point about the Atkins approach. It's really about empowering you to take control of your health and well-being.
Right.
One meal at a time. It's about making those informed choices and developing a sustainable lifestyle that works for you long term.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what would you say is the most important takeaway for our listener?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, I think it's really about recognizing the power of food as information.
Okay.
It's about understanding how different foods impact our bodies and making choices that align with our individual health goals.
And those choices, I mean, they don't have to be like drastic or restrictive. Right? Even small changes like swapping sugary drinks for water,
right,
or adding more veggies to your meals can make a big difference.
Absolutely, yeah. It's about progress, not perfection.
So we'll leave you with this thought-provoking question: What small change can you make today to move towards a healthier and more balanced way of eating?
Yeah, perhaps it's trying a new low-carb recipe, packing a healthy lunch instead of hitting the vending machine, or simply taking a moment to savor your food and appreciate its nourishing qualities.
Every step, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Atkins nutritional approach. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and feel empowered to take charge of your health journey.
You can download the book for free from our website.